Hey guys, how you doing? Steve Roger Phillips, the Warrior of Peace here. I'm delighted today to be speaking to Jen McCarthy because I was intrigued when I first met Jen, and when she started telling me, just really like in conversation, we were in Shegan Ashram in Glastonbury, and she started telling me about a group, and I was absolutely intrigued. At that time, I believe it was like 40,000 followers in the group, whereas now it's up to nearly 70,000. So within a matter of weeks or maybe a couple of months, it's already gone up about 30,000. But that's not the main reason about it. Yeah, numbers is one thing, but I can see that Jen's creating a movement and she's really making a difference from using social media and platforms like Facebook. Because some people say so much that, you know, there's good and bad in everything. A spiritual teacher once told me there's good and bad in everything. You can use a scalpel. A surgeon can use a scalpel to cut a tumor out, but a thief will use it in a different way, right? So it's how we utilize these channels. So I'm really intrigued, Jen, to find out some more about your group. So please tell us some more. So where did the group start? So first questions would be, how did the group start? Where did it come from? Were you guided, or where did it start?
Okay then. So basically, the group came from a vision that I had a few months ago. No, it's actually a year ago now. And what happened was I was just walking, taking a little walk one day, and I have a really deep connection with my spirit team. And I just heard them say one day, there's going to be an event, there's going to be a solar flash event, and all this light is going to come to the earth, and everybody's third eye is going to blast open. All those people in their 3D jobs and their 3D programming, they're all going to wake up. And I was really surprised because I never ever thought that there was going to be a sort of like a significant ascension event. I thought that the ascension of Gaia, the transformation of humanity's consciousness, would happen in a very gradual way. Mm-hmm. And of course it is happening in a gradual way, but what they were telling me, they were actually saying that there's going to be a solar flash event. So and then that day I went home and I made a YouTube video, and I said, oh, you know, talking about twin flames and that. And then I said, oh yeah, guys, you know, my spirit team told me that there was going to be this solar flash event. And then the minute I said the words event, all of this light came into my room, and then all these lights started just flashing around. And it's an hour-long video, and it's just the minute I said the word event. So it was really, really validating for me that this was happening. And so I then put it on the back burner, and my spirit team said, when the masses wake up, they're going to need music, they're going to need kirtan, they're going to need spiritual music, and you really, really need to be focused now on your music, because I'm a musician, I'm a kirtan musician. Mm-hmm. So I kind of put it on the back burner a little bit and really started focusing more on the music. And then a few months later, my friend wrote on Facebook, she's like, has anyone heard of the event? And I was like, oh, I've heard of the event, but I'd never heard of anyone else refer to it as the event. So I heard of it, you know, so I said, yeah, I've heard of the event. She then posted me some YouTube videos about like Alison Coe and these other people that were talking about the event. And it turns out that I basically went down this really deep rabbit hole of people that had, that knew about this solar flash event. Mm-hmm. So that was my inspiration. It came from very, very deep within myself. It you know, it was a calling. It was a calling, you know. And then I knew that I had to make some sort of page or group. I didn't know exactly. And then I spoke to my really good friend Katie Brockhurst, and she said, oh, Jen, you know, all the Facebook algorithms are changing and the pages aren't getting any sort of attention now. It's all about groups. So I think that was an important conversation that I had, because I could have gone down the route of setting up a page. So and then one day I didn't even think about it. It was all just kind of, it just happened, you know. And I didn't think to myself, oh, I'm going to make a Facebook group today or tomorrow. I was just sitting at the computer on the 8th of March, and I was like, I'm just going to create. It's like this force took over me to create the group. And I just clicked create group. I had no idea what I was going to call it. I knew it was going to have the name event in it. And obviously I'm always working with the law of attraction. So instead of saying the event is coming soon, it was clear to me that I had to affirm in the title that it was happening. Mm-hmm. So I just said, I'll just call it the event is happening, you know. And now what had happened was that I'd been doing my twin flame ascension work for a couple of years before I set the group up. So I had a committed and very, very loyal following of a few hundred people. Not many, it was very, very small. But I'd been facilitating my transmissions, and I'd had this absolute phenomenal loyalty from particularly this group of women that committed to every single transmission that I did. So I'd been on this deep journey with a lot of sisters who had been on the twin flame path doing the transmissions. So the day I set up the group, I added all the women from my old group, I added them to the event group. So at the very, very beginning, there was this foundation of phenomenal awakened divine feminine consciousness, which really, really lay at the foundation of this group. And then as soon as I added, I probably added, I don't know, like 50 or 100 people. And then as soon as I did that, they all then started adding themselves. They all started adding their own friends.
Right. Right.
And then I was like, oh, I think I'm going to need a couple of admins. So I got a couple of admins on day one, and then Steve, it just snowballed. It just snowballed. There's absolutely, I mean, what happened was, so I joined those few women to start with. They then all added their friends, and very, very quickly I set the group guidelines, and I said there is no victim consciousness will be allowed or tolerated in this group. This is a group of where we come to empower each other, we come to excite each other and inspire each other. And so any posts that are not exciting or potentially, you know, bring down your vibration, they're just not going to get in. And so at the beginning, it was kind of a little bit, we were finding our way, because people, they weren't used to having such strict guidelines, you know, they weren't used to it. They were used to getting away with stuff on Facebook and, you know, bringing the vibration down. But I was just on it because actually I'd had a lot of practice in running groups from the transmission groups, because I'd been facilitating my transmissions every single month. So I've had a lot of experience in running groups, and I knew exactly how I wanted to run this group. But I'll honestly say this to you, I never for one single second imagined it would be as successful as it is. Not even for 1 second. I don't even know what I thought. I didn't know. So it was all really a great surprise. But I must admit, from day one, we had literally 100 people joining every day, and within the sort of first or second week, we'd had at least 2,000 people. Bearing in mind, we had this solid foundation of awakened divine feminines that were and still are at the very, very core foundation of this group. And I believe that a lot of the success of this group comes down to that group of women that have come with their amazing vibrations and their amazing commitment to doing the work, to showing up for this level of soul alchemy. So yeah.
Wow. So it's like a year ago. So it started about a year ago. I'm not going to start some groups. You said
6 months.
Only 6 months ago you started the group.
Yeah.
Wow, that's phenomenal growth, isn't it? Like 70,000 people within 6 months, and you're saying started. So it started with like 100 people joining. So why were they joining? One of the questions I had was, what type of post? So there was you that was doing posts, but then you were also blocking out posts that had any negativity or that had anything that was bringing the vibration of the group down. Then. And yeah, tell me more about the posts and the content and stuff, because I've seen now what the content is, but how did it start? How did it evolve? And why were people so intrigued and interested in it?
I don't know. Like, I mean, the posts, I really have taken a strong position of leadership from the minute the group was created. And I feel that has created a container of safety for everybody to know that they're being held and that they are truly, truly safe in this group. And I've always maintained impeccably high standards when it comes to content in the group, and what is allowed and what is perpetuated, because I'm an awakened soul, and so I understand deeply about the power of language and the power of intention, and you know, and very aware of the fact that we need to take responsibility of what we put out to the universe. So I'm monitoring or moderating the group from my awakeness level, if you know what I mean. And so that was why we didn't tolerate any victim consciousness, and that was a really, really big thing that we had to really state clearly to everyone, because, you know, there was, at the beginning, people were like, oh, I'm feeling really shit today, and, you know, and it's just like, no, that this isn't the place for you to be expressing that. This isn't a place for you to kind of come in with any sort of like vampiric energy and, you know, try and sort of like suck energy. It's like, actually, we, like, you know, this is a place for you to really, really take responsibility for your process. And also there's a really, really profound level of spiritual maturity that is that is part of the foundation of this group. And so we don't welcome millions and millions of posts about ascension symptoms, because, you know, there is this understanding that we are all going through this transition. And that doesn't mean to say that we don't ever let ascension symptoms post, because we do, but we don't want the whole page to be about ascension symptoms of like, I've got a headache today, I keep sweating, I'm really, really itchy. And that is what was happening a lot at the beginning. Because, so for two reasons. One, we're all very highly empathic people, and so if someone's like, I'm really itchy, I didn't sleep, I'm feeling really emotional, then it's easy to sort of like catch that a little bit and maybe invite that into your own field, and we don't really want that. But also it's about taking a mature attitude to what's going on for you. And it's like, if you're purging, if you're going through these, you know, ascension symptoms, then you know, you're just gonna have to just deal with it. Reach out to someone on a one-to-one level. But is it really appropriate to tell 60,000 people that you've got a headache? Like, that is that really gonna uplift everybody? By, you know, and so there was a lot of that to deal with at the beginning, and also a lot of people were posting a lot of like politically divisive posts, or fear-based posts about the Illuminati, about what, and it's like, yeah, we all know what's going on, we know what's going on, but this isn't the place for us to perpetuate those timelines. You know, this is the place for us to be co-creating the new earth. And if you actually look at this group, about what this group is about, in the guidelines, it's like, it says, like, you know, this group is a celebration of new earth frequencies. And so everything that we share is designed to uplift everybody's vibration, to bring joy, to bring light, to bring laughter, to bring excitement, all of these really, really super high vibrations. Like that is what this group is about, because we're all creating our holographic versions of reality, like on an individual level. And so we don't need to keep perpetuating the old paradigm. We all know about the Illuminati. We all know about the agenda. Like, holy Jesus, like, this group wouldn't exist if we didn't know about that. So there's no need to keep on perpetuating that. And that really got on a lot of people's nerves. They hated it. They were just like, you know, really, you know, there was a lot of arguments with me, a lot of people like really sort of trying to kind of battle with me, and I was just like, no, I know what my guidance is. My guidelines are really, really solid, and they're really, really strict. And if that doesn't work for you, then this group isn't going to work for you. So I'm cool. Like, I've reached a place in my own evolution where everyone is not going to agree with me and everyone is not going to approve of me, and I'm totally cool with that, because I know that everything that I share is absolutely purely from my heart, and it is purely from my truth. And so I'm really, really, really confident in who I am. And I think that's quite an unusual thing, really.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So one of the things, like this, or they were thinking of spreading the love in the way that you've done. So one of the things that I got from you there was just that it was absolute clear guidelines and being really, really strict on making sure that none of this crap, excuse me for want of a better word, is coming through. We're not having any of the negativity. We're not having any of the drains of the vamp. So then, therefore, you've kept the vibration really high. So that's in essence, that's why it's been so attractive, because you haven't got any of that vampish energy, the gossip, or any of that stuff going on.
Exactly. And so what we've done is we've all co-created a stabilized 5th dimensional grid, because based on the fact that we're not allowing or welcoming victim consciousness posts or fear-based posts or politically divisive posts, and we do not tolerate any rudeness. If you name call to anyone on the group, you will be immediately blocked. We do not tolerate any rudeness on any level whatsoever. You have to be loving and respectful to stay in the group. And if you are not loving, respectful, then you will either leave or you'll be blocked, because you'll say something that will make you be blocked. Again, it's having very, very high standards. But what it is because of that, we've actually created a stabilized 5th dimensional grid. And so what that actually means in sort of layman's terms is that not only is that frequency pumping out within the collective consciousness, this cohesive group energy, high vibrational group energy, that is kind of like transmitting throughout the collective consciousness. And what it's doing, it's attracting souls that are vibrating on that level. And so we have so many high vibration starseed angelic souls that just find us. They hear the call, they wake up in the middle of the night and they hear the event is happening, or they get guided to the group in such phenomenal ways, Steve. It really, really is miraculous. And also, I was going to say something else about that. And also what happens is, so all these new people that then come into the group, their vibration then begins to start transforming, because they're coming into this stabilized 5th dimensional grid. And so what that means is that it just starts affecting their vibration on a very, very deep core level. And they just start just becoming a lot more clearer, a lot more happier, a lot more in service, many, many, many things. That's individual. But the thing I've noticed is that so many people have written to me. In fact, I get love letters constantly from members of the group just saying thank you, and that this group has absolutely changed my life. And I never in a million years thought that a Facebook group could change my life, but it has. And it's also changed my life as well. And that's pretty amazing, because I was very, very farly advanced on the path, but it has changed my life to be part of this community. The amazing excitement I feel every day, awakening, knowing that this group is there and we are all working together to really, really hold this high vibration grid within the collective consciousness. It's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Wow. It's so inspiring, and it is really, really inspiring. I just wanted to ask one of the things that, along with standards, with accepting people, because some groups, there's some business groups that I'm involved in or whatever, they've got questions as you go in, but I don't believe have you got the questions and criteria?
Yeah, so basically we've got questions that says, what do you do on a daily basis to raise your vibration? Okay. But my policy is that what happens is a lot of people, they find the group and it really, really starts to change their life, and their vibration starts raising like exponentially. And when that happens, they then start adding their friends. So a lot of the members that have come have been added from people. So when those people get added, they don't get to answer the questions because they're getting added. So I've created a policy whereby I will still accept you in the group even if you haven't asked the questions. And my attitude is that it's just asking that question is a really powerful question to ask yourself. So it's just kind of like an offering. It doesn't mean if you don't answer it, it doesn't mean you're not going to get in the group. It's just like a nice little, like, you know, it's an opportunity for you to think, oh, what do I do every day to raise my vibration? So we have a very, very, very inclusive membership policy. But what you notice is that with having a very inclusive membership policy, obviously there will be some people that get into the group that are not vibrationally aligned. And the thing is, that gets highlighted pretty much immediately. Like, they'll write a troll comment, and any troll comments, you are automatically blocked. You will never, ever, ever get back in the group again. So yeah, I've never really heard of any other group with that policy. That's such a tight policy. But what I've noticed, Steve, is that tight policy enables everybody in the group to feel so safe and so held and so loved by all of us on the admin team, that they're then allowed to just be themselves and express their innocence and their vulnerability and their truth and their visions and their dreams as children. And yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
Wow, that's powerful stuff, you know, because there's not many places, online especially, where you're able to do that, where you can, like, really disclose yourself and be vulnerable in a safe place. You know, it's like we've just experienced personally, we've had some, you know, there's so many trolls and keyboard warriors out there, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's yeah, it must be revolutionary for some people, you know, if they're just in their own circles and stuff. Maybe they're not in high vibrational circles in their own families and their friends, but this is a place where they can go raise their vibe and then go back to their family and friends with a much more strength, you know? Wow, it's powerful, so powerful. I love what you've created.
Sorry?
I love what you've created and the safety you've created, because, like I said to you before, I've got a network called the Warriors of Peace Network, and my members are so important to me. They're like extended family, you know what I mean? So what I'm getting from you is that you really care about your members as well. It's not just a Facebook group, it's not a business. It's,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about that. So what you're, I'm getting that anyway, but tell me a bit more about that. Like, is it, because it seems like you're almost like mothering the group, you know what I mean?
Oh, God, yeah. I'm a mama bear, and everybody knows that. And I'm really comfortable in a position of leadership, you know. And it's all in my chart. It's in my birth chart. I've got like 9 planets in cardinal signs, if anyone knows about astrology. But like, I really, really am a born leader. And but also I'm a Libran. So Librans is all about harmony in relationships, and it's all about, you know, just being really lovely, just generally just being lovely, you know. And so I think, yeah, I think I definitely have established that from day one, that I am a mama bear and I care deeply about all of the members. And so I just cannot tolerate anyone being hurt or victimized or shamed or anything like that. Like, I will always intervene. Literally all the time, I will intervene with that, Steve. And I think that's been a huge part of its success. I think I'm just trailblazing a new paradigm in group leadership. I think I am, because I've never ever in all my days, I mean, I've been on Facebook 10 years, and I've never ever encountered this or been part of a group like this, whereas actually, when I say my prayers of gratitude, every day I say my prayers of gratitude, and this group is in my top 3 things that I am grateful for. Like, it has had such a profound effect on my life and on so many people's lives that it's unprecedented. It's absolutely unprecedented.
So on that note, Jen, can you? So what's your spiritual name actually? Do you get addressed by your spiritual name, or do you get addressed by Jen? I
don't really use my spiritual name, but my spiritual name is Jayanti, and you're welcome to call me Jayanti. But I'm also Love Jen, so it's fine.
Cool. So it's so the next thing I was going to ask was, because on that note then, because even though you've got other people which are posting and commenting and stuff, I've noticed that you do like regular ceremonies and transmissions, I believe you call them. You correct me if I'm wrong, but tell me a little bit more about them.
Okay, so basically I started writing because I was a fashion designer for 11 years, and but I had a really, really powerful spiritual awakening when I was 21 at the top of a Himalayan mountain, and my third eye blasted open. I didn't even know I had a third eye, but it actually blasted completely wide open, and I saw God everywhere, and I went into a very, very, very deep state of bliss for about 6 months, and I went into a samadhic state for 6 months. And from having that experience, I knew that my job ultimately was to be a spiritual activator. And because I really had such a deeply, deeply profound, profoundly stabilized connection with God consciousness, which was very, very rare. And I knew that I'd been gifted, my soul had chosen this path in order to serve, ultimately to serve the collective, and to also to complete my own sort of like, you know, reincarnation cycle or anything like that, whatever you want to say. But so I always knew that that was my ultimate dharma, was to be a spiritual activator, to be that person that will assist in activating people's spiritual awakening. But I was an artist, and I was a crafts person because I come from a family of artists and craftspeople. So I actually created a really successful fashion design business where I used to make clothes. But then towards the end of it, the universe just stopped supporting me, and every festival I did, I just didn't make any money, and I did all these events but I didn't make any money. And really, Spirit was saying to me, we are not supporting you. You have to do your mission now. Like, come on, Jen. Like, this was like 15 years after my spiritual awakening. No, in fact, it was more. It was like 18 years after my spiritual awakening. They just like kicked my butt, and they said, you have to start getting out there as a spiritual activator. Mm-hmm. So from that point, I wrote my first blog about twin flames, because I'm very, very deeply connected to the timeline of this 144,000 twin soul reunion trajectory. And I started channeling a lot of information about that, because I was working very, very specifically with Yeshua and Magdalene as kind of like my sort of #1 spirit guides in a way. And they were like constantly giving me downloads about the twin soul template and stuff like that. So, and not to mention the fact that I had my own twin soul ascension awakening in 2013. So then I started writing. I wrote my blog, and I posted my blog, and it didn't go viral, but it almost went viral like straight away. It really touched people's hearts, and like straight away people writing to me saying, you know, I was getting complete goosebumps. I was like shivering, I was crying, and I was getting this so much, like constantly, from people that were being so affected by these written transmissions that I was bringing through. And then immediately that's when I started doing my one-to-one sessions, because when I had my spiritual awakening when I was 21, my third eye blasted open, and I was able to read everyone's Akashic records. Like, so I'd meet someone and I'd be able to know their greatest blocks, their greatest lessons, their mission, the work that they've come to do. I'd like literally have access to people's Akashic records. Wow. So I knew that doing one-to-one sessions would be a sort of walk in the park for me. And so by the time I wrote my first blog, I started, you know, I said, I do sessions, and then straight away, people just started coming to me. But I'll give you one top tip for your listeners and for these listeners that are listening now. So when I very, very first started out on my spiritual activation path, I did this prayer. I went up to Glastonbury tour. Now, everyone should take note. If you're really, really serious about either doing one-to-one sessions or setting up a group or working with anyone, this is one of my top 3 tips. What I did was, when I wrote my first blog, and I was transitioning from fashion designer to spiritual teacher, coach, activator, I went up to Glastonbury tour, and I just put my hands in prayer position, and I said, I call upon the higher self of every person on this earth that I have made a soul contract to work with. I'm ready now, and I'm here, and come find me. I'm available. And I really, really believe that played, and I tell that to a lot of people, like when they're starting out and stuff, because it was absolutely phenomenal for me how quickly it took off. You know, in terms of what's the word? Not popularity, but kind of, I mean, I guess it is sort of popularity really. But anyway, it was really, really touching a lot of people, my writing, and then my sessions. And I was like, the sessions were really, really phenomenal, and they still are. But then after a year of just writing my blog and doing sessions, Spirit was like, you have to do webinars. And I was like, webinars? What's a webinar? Like, you know, they kept on saying, you've got to do a webinar. So I started looking at all these webinar platforms, and it all just seemed really, really complicated. Yeah. They were just like, you just have to tell people what you know about ascension, what you know about twin flames, just to start, you know, creating these webinars. And then again, I was inspired by my friend Katie, because she'd set up this group on Facebook. It was like summer school for social media. And she did a live Facebook transmission from her group. And then suddenly I was doing all this research with all these webinar platforms. And I was just like, you know what? Actually, it's going to work out for me to just create a private group, you know, a closed group on Facebook. Yeah. And let people know that I'm doing the transmission from the blog. So write the blog, then invite everyone to the webinar, and then if you sign up, at that point it was like £22 or £11 to join, and I think it was actually 22 at that time. And then if you sign up, then you then get sent the link to come and join the group. So that's how. So I started my transmissions. Does that make sense, Steve? Yeah.
Can you just explain that bit to me? Because I was trying to work this out myself as well, because the transmissions get transmitted to everyone in the group, right?
Regardless. Okay, so at the beginning, I created a closed Facebook group. And so only people that signed up and paid and sent an energy exchange would then get access to the private group.
And that's the event is happening group, or is it separate?
Way before the event was happening. This was like 2 years ago when I started my first transmission, because you were asking about my transmissions.
Yeah, right, got you.
Yeah, so and what happened was I did my first transmission. It was really, really a phenomenal success. And then the second one, every person that did the first one signed up to do the second one, and then it doubled. And then the next one, they all did it again. And what happened was it was just this phenomenal loyalty of like people were getting so much. Because the transmissions are a bit like doing like a medicine, like a plant medicine ceremony. Like it's really, really extraordinarily powerful. And a lot of people, they I don't want to say they got addicted to the buzz, but a little bit. They were like, well, I want some of that. And it was just really massively contributing to people's evolution. And so I just attracted, again, I'm really, really blessed in that I always attract a loyal following. Like I don't just attract followers that come for like a day and that's it. Like if they're with me, they just stick with me like forever. You know what I mean? And so I had this amazing, so I decided to run a transmission. Like I changed it from webinar to transmission because it actually turned out to be an activation. It was like a spiritual activation that was being transmitted. And I held one every single month, and they just grew and grew and grew, and they pretty much just doubled in size from each one, just doubled in size to the next one. So that is my transmission journey. Is that anything else about that? Yeah, totally.
And so do they still get transmitted in that other group now, or do they get transmitted in the event is happening now?
No, so what I was doing up until I created the event is happening group, I would create a group, and then I'd have that group for about 4 months, and I would add everyone to the group, because it was basically everyone just kept on doing all of them. And so it got a bit silly just creating new groups, because it's just adding exactly the same people to the new group. And so I kind of keep a group for about 4 transmissions, and then do the transmissions in that group. And then it was a bit like a mini event is happening group in a way. It was like really, really super high vibes. Everyone, it was like a really powerful community, and it still is. Like all the people that do the transmissions, like we are like a family, you know, we're really, really, really committed to this. So when I created the event is happening group, Spirit just said to me, you know, you have to move the transmissions to the event is happening group, because actually the energy that is put out on the transmissions is going to exponentially raise the vibration of the group, and it's going to keep the vibration very, very high.
Got you.
Wow. So I think that is also a part of the winning formula of the group, is these regular transmissions. Now, with that, it's an energetic exchange because it's a ceremony. It's like you have to commit to the ceremony. It's not like, oh, I'll just stumble across a ceremony one day. Oh yeah, I think I'll go to that. It's not about that. It's about you actually signing up, committing and saying, yes, I will show up for this ceremony. I will take part in this ceremony for the collective consciousness. That's why it has to be done on an energetic exchange basis. But all the other videos that I do, I share so many videos and so many meditations, and they are not done on an energetic exchange basis. They're just there for everyone in the group. But I think it's really important to highlight that there is a difference from the transmissions to the everyday meditations, because I get the odd person writing to me saying, you shouldn't charge for your spiritual work, which is ridiculous, because obviously we live in a 3D paradigm, and the fact of the matter is I give so much of my time and my true self away for free. So that has to be honored. Like, I have to be honored as the leader, as the creator. I have to be, and I have to be sustained, like in this paradigm. But also it's about you committing to show up. That is what the transmissions are all about. It's about, are you actually committing to show up for this level of spiritual transformation? It's not something that you're just gonna like stumble upon and get transformed. It's like, no, you have to sign up. It's like you don't just like stumble upon an ayahuasca ceremony or a San Pedro ceremony. You have to sign up. You have to book. So yeah, that's been a kind of like interesting thing with the odd person like having an issue with that. But whatever, I just block them now. Can't be dealing with it.
Can I just ask? I don't know what's happening. It's repeating, but anyway. So how do you distinguish between it being so let me get this right now. All of these transmissions get posted on the group, right? On a live video on the group. So it's on a trust basis, I guess, is it? Where like
it's a trust basis. I say to everyone, like, this is like, so a lot of people, like, for example, I've got the Equinox transmission happening on Saturday at 4:44. Now, so far, I've had 100 people that have signed up and they've sent their energy exchange. And I'll probably get another 100 or 200 other people that will also sign up as well. But then there'll be a lot of people on the day, will stumble across it. But there and then, when I'm doing the transmission, I'll say, this work is offered on an energetic exchange basis, and I invite everybody to stay in alignment with integrity. If you really want to get the most out of this, then please honour this agreement. Now, of course, there are some people that are not able to pay, and I add them for free. Of course I do. But write to me. Just write to me and say, and then some people will be like, I'll help you promote it, or I'll send you a poem, or I'll send you a piece of art, and I'm totally open to that. So long as there is an energetic exchange, then I'm cool with that. But yeah, it's totally done on trust.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I was trying to work it out, because I was seeing that you were doing this, and I could see that there was a donation. It was like 11, 22. Or donation, I think it was, right? Yeah. And then I think you said something similar to what you just said then. But if you can't do that, then there's an exchange or something along those lines. But then I was trying to understand how you were distinguishing that in the group. So that's how you do it. So it's just it's like a honesty box type of thing, right? It's that type of donation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's totally 100% trust.
Yeah, but you're just translating that to the online version of that, which is, cool. I get it. Right. I'm glad I can understand that, because I was trying to understand the concept of how you did that. And so you mentioned Katie Brockhurst twice, didn't you? I was just wondering, maybe people would want to details, because it sounds like she's been instrumental in a couple of things.
Yeah.
How do you spell her name, for example?
So it's Katie, Katie, and then Brockhurst, Brockhurst.
And she has a page or a group or something?
She has many different sort of social media outlets. She's just written a really amazing book called Social Media for a New Age, and I highly recommend that. And I'm really, really close to Katie, and we're very aligned. We really, really support each other. And I think I've been a really rather brilliant case study for her, really. Because what Katie talks a lot about is like that old paradigm, sort of like click funnels and manipulative marketing techniques, and how they're not authentic, and it's like you've got 10 seconds to book, and all this kind of like fear, adrenaline and stuff like that. And you know, that to me and to Katie, like that's really the old paradigm, you know, of sort of getting yourself out there in the world. And what I am sort of demonstrating and living is real authenticity and heart-based leadership. That isn't like, I don't have a service to self agenda. Like a lot of these old paradigm marketing, they want to make £1 million, or they want to have 1 million followers, and there's like an agenda. I don't have that. Like my only agenda is to be empty and to be present. Like that is it. And that is something that I wanted to speak about, Steve, because I didn't really think about what I was going to talk about in this, but I had a feeling you were going to ask me, like, why, what do I attribute to why this has been such a successful group? And what I would like to say is that what I've done is I've focused and dedicated my life to becoming an empty channel, to clearing myself of the bullshit, all the programming, and you know, really, really deeply falling in love with myself and understanding who I am as a divine Christed being. And I chant a lot of kirtan, as you know, and that really, really helps to purify all this conditioning and stuff like that. But I believe that a lot of the reason why the group is so successful is because, you know, that is my primary focus, is to be an empty channel, to be an empty vessel. So that's what I'm focused on. So I have my spiritual practice, and I meditate, and I spend time in nature, and I play kirtan, and I do all of these activities that support me being an empty vessel. And what I've noticed is that if you can really, really cultivate a stabilized sort of like vibration of being an empty vessel, once your vessel is empty, there is this divine energy, call it Christ consciousness, call it God consciousness, call it the divine, many names for it. But once your vessel is empty, then it's like the universe abhors a vacuum, and then that divine energy then is able to really, really, you know, fill up that empty vessel. And so I believe that this is why it's been one of the main top 3 reasons why it's been such a success, is that is my focus. Like there is absolutely no service to self agenda. There's just pure service to God, pure service to my brothers and sisters. And it's ironic. It's like, you know, if you actually do that, then that's when you meet success, really.
Yeah. Can I ask you on that note, right? Because you touched on it earlier about somebody the trolling and saying about the exchange for prices and stuff. Because I'm intrigued for myself as well.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to somebody yesterday about it as well in my network, and I come across it very often because I'm in similar type of networks and people like New Age and spiritual people and stuff that have got businesses, but then sometimes have got issues with asking for money or asking for donations. So what I'd like to ask you specifically is how you do it, practically how you do it. So you've said you have one-to-ones, you know, you have the transitions, you've already covered that. It's a donation basis, it's £11 or £22, or on a donation basis on exchange, right? That's cool. But then on the one-to-one sessions and stuff, how do you gauge like your price point, for example, and how do you keep your integrity like that? You know, I'm just intrigued, and I think a lot of other people will be, especially in this field, you know.
I mean, when I first started out, I did my sessions for like £33 an hour, and I just kept getting people sending me double. People were like, they would just send me £66, and they just were just saying, you are charging too little for what you're giving, the value that you're giving, you are charging too little. And it happened so many times, and that people just kept on sending me extra donations. But I guess I was kind of just finding my feet with it all, and my sort of confidence. And then so just steadily, I just kind of put the prices up to reflect really the value of what you're getting. And also, like, you know, I have sessions like for half an hour. You can get a lot done in half an hour. I can really, really massively help you in half an hour. Because I have this ability to really go to the very, very crux of the matter and the heart, the core of the issue. So there is options. Could we have found the cup in you, Jen? Yeah. Sorry, I was reading a comment. So yeah, no, I think it's just a matter of your own discernment. And for myself, it was then looking around at other people that I respected and then kind of seeing, you know, what was their price plan. And now it's like, what's happened is because I'm actually running the group for like a good 7-8 hours a day, I've lost a lot of time and energy for my groups, for my one-to-one sessions. So I don't really have as much time and I don't really have as much energy to be doing the one-to-one sessions. So, you know, and I think people should know that. And a lot of people write to me and they're like, you know, and I think I might set up a Patreon account. I need to look into it, but I do get people writing to me saying that they really, really do want to support me, and I think it's appropriate because things have really, really shifted for me since I've been running the group, because I'm just really, really like focused on the group really, and I'll do the odd session here or there, but it's not really my main focus. My sessions at the moment, my one-to-ones, because I've done loads of them, and you know, so yeah.
So I was amazed then to hear like 7 to 8 hours per day, because some people may just fall upon or stumble upon your group and just think like, oh, you know, something that's just happened. But you know, you're active. You're very active. You're spending a lot of time.
Active 7 days a week. I don't have days off. But it's not, you know, it's a passion of mine. It's not like it's a sort of like a drudgery or anything like that. Like I'm choosing it because I really, really care about all the members, and I really, really care about this planetary ascension, and I really deeply care that everyone wakes up, because all the people in the group, like really, we're like the front runners, like we're like the way showers of the event. And so it's really, really a priority that the way showers stabilize as these lighthouse beacons that we've incarnated to be. Because, you know, there is going to be this event is going to happen, and once it happens, everyone around you is going to start going into like full spiritual awakening, and you're going to be needed as guideposts, as illuminated beacons of light. And so I really, really deeply care about assisting in as many people's stabilization as possible. So that's why I show up every day to do this work, and it is absolutely, completely and utterly selfless.
Yeah.
But I think that authenticness, vibration, is what attracts the success.
And then you reiterated and ceremony stuff, because obviously, you know, it's a full-time job what you're doing. So then
it's a full-time job,
a fair exchange for all the effort and stuff you're putting in.
Exactly. That's why I have zero tolerance to anyone that questions whether that I charge a donation. I have zero tolerance for that. I'm just like, you're not welcome in the group. If you have an issue with that, you're not welcome in the group, because the least everyone can do is actually support me for showing up as the leader that I am, you know.
And that's the only thing you do it for, right? It's only for the transmissions and the ceremonies. That's the only time.
Yeah, so everything else is free. Everything else I do is free. All of my talks, all of my kirtans, everything I do is free, apart from my one-to-one sessions and the transmissions, and of course the retreats. That's a totally different thing. But I only do 1 or 2 retreats a year anyway. But I've got one space left on the retreat, the October retreat in Avalon, if anyone wants to come.
Awesome. Wow, Jen, it's been enlightening speaking to you. Honestly, it's just been amazing, and thank you so much for sharing all of this amazing info, because there may be some people that are listening to this live video that have got intentions like you say, about being beacons of light themselves, and what you've shared is just going to help them to do that. They might want to set up their own thing. They might want to join your group. The event is happening, right? So the event is happening. If they see this outside of the group, it's called The Event is Happening. So join Jen's group to find out more about what she's doing, and then of course you can get these transmissions from her as well. So yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm really glad that we've had this conversation, because when you just said to me, we had a brief conversation and you said, oh yeah, I know Russell Brand and stuff. And you showed me some pictures of Russell Brand's mother, I think it was, or something anyway. And but then you just dropped in about your group and how many people you had in your group. And I was just like, my ears just went like, pardon, how many have you got in your group? And it's just, yeah. So thank you so much for explaining to me how you've done this, because I really wanted to have an understanding of it, because obviously I got some groups myself and I've got my page. And
what did you get from this, Steve? What was the main 3 things you got from that you can pass on to other people?
Yeah, so the two things that I noted, because those were 2 things that you specifically said, but I'll find the third one will be maybe one of my own. But the 2, so one of the things that you said was to going up to the toe, and when you said that prayer, so when you said, you called on each person's higher self that you've made a soul contract with to come and work with you. And there's a lady I use she does dowsing for us, and a thing called spiritual response therapy, and that's one of the things she does, because she has periods where she's working, and because of the amount of energy she gives up when she's working, sometimes she has periods when she's not working. But then when she comes back into work, that's what she does. She just puts a call out, and then the phone starts going. She has text messages, so we can. I'm speaking about myself. We can forget sometimes, because we've got this modern technology now of a phone, or which is the gross form of communication. We can forget about this telepathic communication that we've all got, right? So I thought that was revolutionary to bring me back into alignment with that, and that's what I'm going to do now, because I'm just launching my online.
It's a top tip. It really is.
Yeah, so that's what I'm definitely going to be doing. Number 2 was the no service to self agenda, so service to others. So number 2 was that it's genuinely, what I get from you is it's genuinely coming from the heart. You care so much about your clients, or about your group, then your friends or your network, whatever you want to call it, your spiritual family, if you like, that it's totally selfless. And I really love the way that you give clarification as to how you're getting that energetic exchange, because it's something that comes up so often for people. And I love what you're doing in the way that you're getting people to donate and stuff, and give that energetic, because some people don't do that, and then they get like chronic fatigue symptoms and stuff, or they can't continue, because it's just, that's not how the universe works, is it? It's got to be working on an exchange. That's how it works.
Absolutely.
And if you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be able to do this amazing group that you're doing. So that was
a cardboard box on the street with my son. I didn't do that.
How useful are you going to be for people then, right?
Exactly. That's why I have zero tolerance for anyone that takes any issue with the fact that I asked for a donation for the transmissions. They are immediately removed from the group. So if there's anyone watching this and you've got an issue with that, just leave, because I'm not tolerating it.
I love it. I love you've addressed that. Thank you so much. And then, so the third thing would be something, because those are 2 things that you specifically highlighted. But the third thing was me. I touched on it then, but for me, it had to be the leadership, but more importantly, like the high standards as well, but the safety. I know I touched on it in the second one, but it's the safety for the people in the group, and how much you care, how much you got that mothering kind of nurturing energy for your tribe. And I think that it's so important. I had something happen recently. I can't go into it, but I had to stand in and protect my tribe as well. So it's really important to me. So it's nice to hear that as well. So thank you so much, Jen. I really loved everything you shared.
Thanks, Steve. Really lovely to connect with you, and you've got a really great demeanour in the way you present yourself and carry yourself, and I look forward to doing more lives with you in future, brother.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sister.
I'll see you at Kirtan soon.
Thank you so much.
My Kirtan brother, I met him at the ashram in Glastonbury, and we're always there, avid, deeply committed to chanting God's name all day, every day. So
too right, that's the way forward. That's what gives me the strength to do the stuff that I do. I mean, I've just been in the film in Las Vegas recently, and that's what did that. It was my guru's blessings and the chanting and stuff. I also try my best to step out the way. The ego comes in sometimes, but I try my best to step out of the way and be as clear a channel as I can for this amazing stuff to happen, But so thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you, brother. Many blessings. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all for sending lovely comments mostly. And God bless you all, and I'll see you on the group.
Happy days. Thanks a lot, Jen. Hare Krishna.
Bye. Hare Krishna. Bye bye.